Hey, this is Keegan, and today we are at Breathe Modern Dentistry, and we are going to be sitting with Jordan Smith. So follow me, let's take a look at what they do.
Hi, my name is Jordan Smith. I'm the dentist here and owner of Breathe Modern Dentistry and Respire Dental and Facial Aesthetics.
Awesome. And then when did you start your business?
So the business started in October of 2016, so we've been open just over 5 years now.
Awesome. And what made you decide to get into dentistry?
Oh man, let me try to simplify that. Growing up, I kind of had a lot of crowded teeth. Never really liked my smile. Well, I'd say that I liked it okay, but it was always kind of a stumbling block. So I never felt as confident as I thought I probably could have. So I think in some ways dentistry was kind of the answer that I knew was out there to help me overcome that. And so I think I was intrigued by it just because of that. And so my mentor growing up was in church that we went to, and he would always, every time I was at his office, he'd try to kind of like hint at being a doctor, and it was always just really fascinating to me. And so I think the two together really kind of motivated me to look into it, like sincerely look into it. And then I had braces in college, and throughout that process, and then once they came off and all that arrangement looked better and my smile was there, I finally kind of felt that confidence for the first time that I knew I kind of was missing from that reason. And once I had that, just knowing that I could do that for somebody else and it would provide a living for me at the same time was just kind of a match made in heaven, and that was the fuel I needed on the fire to put all my effort into actually getting in and doing this. So it's kind of a long journey, but it organically kind of kept on happening until it finally turned out. So.
There you go. That's cool. Now I know you have a lot of stuff going on with Breathe and Respire. So in a nutshell, kind of what all kind of services do you guys have here?
Yeah, I mean your prototypical. It'll say let's kind of move it towards Breathe. So at Breathe Modern Dentistry, it's mostly going to be general dentistry. We don't do a lot of like dentures or root canals. There's a few services that we don't do a lot here, and there's reasons for that, but not for the time being. We won't go into that. But beyond that, we kind of call it general dentistry plus, because we do a lot of the implant procedures, a lot of cosmetic veneers and crowns, things like that. But we're really proud of the orthodontic module and the facial development and airway module that we really focus in on. So it's really helping kids and adults alike develop the fullest mid-face they can, and that also encompasses TMJ correction for a lot of people. So we do a lot of general dentistry. It's still probably 50% of our day, but the other 50% is items that you may not find in a lot of general offices. And so when patients come here, they know they're going to hopefully get a very comprehensive review, and they're not just going to get your drill, your fill, and all that kind of stuff. It's really, how can we make sure your smile will last a lifetime? How can we make sure that you're as confident in it as you want to be? And how can we make sure that it also complements your entire health, and that means your joints, your airway, that can relate to headaches and so on. So it's general dentistry plus, as we like to say.
Awesome. I like that. So kind of a little switching gears. How long have you been in Broken Arrow? So I know we originally were on Main Street, and then we switched over here. But how long have you been Broken Arrow?
We opened 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, when we moved here about 6 months ago. So in October of 2016, we moved. We started the office from scratch on Main Street, and that's been good. I mean, I've lived in Broken Arrow for around 12 years total, and so it's always kind of been my home. Whenever I was deciding to set up my own practice. And there was nowhere else I was going to go but to do it here. So
awesome. And what do you like most about being located in Broken Arrow?
It's I think it's a beautiful town. I think It's got all the conveniences of like Tulsa, and but it's got that suburban outskirt kind of feel to it. And so I like it being a little bit smaller. Growing up in Tulsa, I was actually growing up technically in Catoosa my whole life. And that town's changed a little bit with the casino and so on. And my family, a lot of them lived here whenever I was growing up. And so we were in Broken Arrow all the time. I used to go to Main Street as a kid and go to the nickel and dime shop and Ben Franklin's and get pea shooters with my cousins and stuff. So this whole city has kind of been in my blood since I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And so my wife and I graduated from college in Claremore. We were trying to figure out where we want to live because we were tired of Claremore, and it was like, well, we want to go to Broken Arrow. So I mean, it was like we both knew we just really like this town, and it's just it's got everything we want without being dead smack in the middle of Tulsa. Yeah, or in the chaos, kind of closer to Bixby and so on. So
yeah, for sure, awesome. So with Breathe in general, you kind of touched base on this earlier, but what makes Breathe unique versus everywhere else?
Yeah, I think it may sound cliche, but I think it's our people, it's our team. We started the practice with the overall goal of just creating a better experience, and I mean that in the sense of there's so many different touch points as a patient. You're used to certain smells, or you're used to certain expectations. And by and large, there's only so much you can change about dentistry itself. But the way it's delivered here is pretty special, in my opinion. From walking in and not having a front desk, but a concierge that greets you and offers you an espresso or coffee, and they hand make it here, to just the way that our team, really tries to coordinate so the patient feels that we're with them and we care about them, and we're not moving into a room and moving them out the door. And I think that as medicine in America and dentistry's not separate from that. It's getting harder and harder to practice without lowering the overhead to offset maybe insurance reimbursements and things like that. But I think we've done really good at keeping a good balance here, so that the experience is as top-notch as we can get, the quality is as good as we know how to offer, and at the same time, patients, they come here and they leave and they start to feel like family. And we're most proud of that, because most of the patients here know my teammates by name. They're happier to see them, obviously, than they are sometimes to see me. But by and large, it's to deliver a certain expectation of care that I would want for myself. And it's getting harder and harder to find that.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And then just kind of finishing up, how would somebody get in contact with you? How would they find you?
We're pretty hard to find. No, really, we're easy to access. I think that during the weekdays, Monday through Thursday mainly, you're a phone call away, obviously, and that's always the best way for most people to get in touch with us, because there's always going to be so many different ways to come in, whether it be through a consultation about something specific, say a small makeover, or orthodontics in general, and that may be something we get them a little faster for. If they're just trying to establish as a patient here, that's another thing that requires a phone call. And so many times patients can also reach out on Facebook or through email, and sometimes that gets the ball rolling until we can find a time to have a conversation together and make sure that not only are the patients a good fit here, meaning we can take care of them the way that they want, but are we a good fit for them? Because I suppose we're not for everybody. We're certainly trying to strive towards a certain style of care that's not found everywhere, and that doesn't mean we're super expensive or anything, but it just means sometimes that extra time that we take to get to know people, to really assess things, isn't always what people are after, surprisingly. And so we always want to make sure that it's a two-way street and that the relationship works, because we want what's best for the patient. And if it's not a two-way street in that maneuver, or in that way, I should say, then it doesn't always fit. But that being said, we want to offer you the best care we can, and that means obviously we have high expectations for a patient wanting to care for themselves too. And when that happens, it's a really good match.
Awesome. And then just one more quick question. Is Breathe involved in the community at all? Do you guys give back at all or anything like that? Or is anything set up? Or
we've done different things. We sponsored several of the, I'm trying to think of the name. I think it was, hold on a second, let me think of what it was. I want to say Jeremiah House, but it doesn't sound right. I think that it is. Anyways, we did some things where we sponsored some kids over in Haiti and small boys groups over there. And so we were giving proceeds for, like, say, clear aligner therapy. We would provide so much in order to feed kids over in Haiti. That's been fun. We do a lot of local things, and a lot of it we try to focus in on our patients. So when a patient per se has a kiddo that maybe is on a certain team and they need support, or they're going on a band trip to do things, we try to support our family here, and that of course means our patients. So we don't do a large amount of external external just finding a thing and going to it, because relationships matter so much. So we're always kind of trying to find people here that we can support, give to, and show generosity to. And sometimes that means free care. Sometimes we just surprise people and do certain things, and we'll make something for somebody, or we'll do some veneers for somebody, because we know we're changing a life that matters, and that's our goal, is to always make sure that all of our efforts are immediately impacting those around us that we get a chance to care for. So
Awesome. Sounds good. That's all the questions I got. Is there anything else you want to add?
you may not know that maybe I've told you this before, but I worked where you worked.
Oh, did you really?
When I was 18, did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, so my first job out of high school, my uncle was best friends with one of the general sales managers on the Kia Ferguson Subaru side. And so at 18 years old, I came out of high school. I didn't want to go to college. Joke's on me.
Right.
8 more years after that. But for about 8 months, I sold Kias, and at the time, Isuzu, and Subarus, and had great memories. It was really good times. And so it's kind of a full circle thing. So
Look at that.
speaking with Keegan,
That's funny.
But
That's awesome.
I never, definitely never did as well as you did in terms of just your success. Never learned how to quite foster that help and that relationship with customers as well as you have. But it's not what I'm trying to do with our patients here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
and I've seen that with just coming, like when she started working here, my mom, at the old place, and then transferring over here. I've seen it, every single time I walk in. It's like just like you say, it's a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
Love it.
And it should be. I mean, especially when dentistry requires a lot of trust, right? I mean, it's not something you just lay down and open your mouth for anybody, kind of a thing. And so we do believe that it starts with relationships. The next thing is education, and then you go to treatment, because without those first two things, either A, you shouldn't be doing it on trust, or two, you don't have the education that the patient probably needs in order to make a good decision for themselves. And so relationships are everything, and so we put a lot of time and effort into that, Keegan, and I appreciate you noticing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching the video and joining us as we kind of explore what Breathe Modern Dentistry has to offer, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks.